limit on me, never snitch. Lord knows I ain't sitting a homie on no dummy.
What's up, family? Welcome to another episode of Mediazewtv. Hope everyone's doing okay out there. Great spirits and in good health. This episode that we're getting into is about them saying that Jeezy snitched on Meech.
I'm the defense attorney telling him how to write out the sentence.
That's the wrong show. You know, the one who makes you go really cold.
Yeah.
Mr. Hudson, Mr. Finley, you ready?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. This is the case of State of Georgia versus Radrick Davis. My name is Jesse Law. Mr. Davis, you...
It states the same thing. Just based on what the criminal history of Mr. Davis, we must ask for it.
I asked him and confirmed that there was no attempt to serve him at a studio, at a residence. Accordingly, it was confirmed there was no holds. Contacted fugitive, knowing from doing this for a while, of information about my client. I do want to say that I have a community service letter from somebody with the Atlanta Public Schools that I'll tender. I'll show counsel. I'll tender to Your Honor if I can approach.
Sure.
The excessive amount, whatever that is, we're just asking that the bond, their bond be set. I never asked for an amount. That's not my job. My job is to ask for bond. The conditions I leave in the courts with the court's discretion.
Okay. Well, in the exercise of my discretion, I understand your position, Mr. Finley, but this gentleman does have a aggravated battery.
Mind you, we're coming up on 25, 26 years after the fact. Okay, so let me get this right. You got an FBI agent or former FBI agent making a video, and in a slick kind of way, he's basically calling Young Jeezy a snitch without saying his name. Like we're so stupid that we can't fill in the blanks of who he's talking about.
I say the guy's name because he's pretty famous, and to be fair, he was never charged with a crime. But we had these two rappers in Atlanta in the early 2000s, and they were beefing with each other, trading diss tracks, the whole thing. Then rapper number one, the famous one, orders his goons to go beat up rapper number two and steal this gaudy gold and diamond necklace he wore in all of his videos, and that's where it got interesting. The goon squad shows up at rapper number two's place. He pulls a gun and starts shooting. One of the attackers gets hit, makes it about 200 yards away from the house before he drops dead. Rapper number two is arrested for murder, but is dismissed as self-defense. And the real criminal here is rapper number one, who ordered the violent act that got his man killed. I had the phone records and two witnesses prepared to testify for what would have been a rock-solid RICO murder case. But for reasons that were never explained to me, the U.S. Attorney's Office declined prosecution, and rapper number one went on to have a phenomenally successful career. Oh well, win some, lose some.
So then I asked myself, why would an FBI agent just come out and speak on a so-called ironclad RICO murder case 25 years after the fact? Then I asked myself, is he really a former FBI agent? Or just somebody clout chasing? What's his name? Because I've been swimming a long time. And that's something that FBI agents just don't do. Come out and announce cases before the cases are charged, or come out and talk about past cases that they worked on. That's a no-no. But the questions that I'm asking myself, a lot of people aren't going to ask those questions. So out of 1,000 people, you already maybe got 800 people already calling Young Jeezy a snitch.
Were you allowed to hand out bricks? No. Do you remember in those 1 or 2 times where J-Bo or Tito or someone told you to hand bricks to someone, who those people were? Yes. Who? One of them was Doc or B.I. Doc, did you say who the other one was, or you do not remember? Yes, Jeezy. Jeezy? Yes. We've heard some in this trial about a possible musician named Young Jeezy. Are you referring to the same person? Yes.
But no, he didn't get indicted because he did some more other shit. I feel like that. I know some things he did, like he turned Meech cars into the feds. That same Porsche truck and that Ferrari I was talking about a while before he had came to Miami and doing some lie detector tests about this gun case he caught one year in 06 when I went to go meet him. We had a shootout, not against him, but some other, like when me and him start trying to talk, some other popped it off with us and we ended up having a shootout and he ended up going to jail for a gun. If anybody is familiar with that Miami case, him and Twin came back to do a polygraph test supposed to be for that shit. And the security said that the Meech cars pulled up on flatbeds, nigga, into the federal building when he went and did it, when he was inside for his meeting or whatever. So I know he turned in the cars. Ain't no telling what people be doing, bro. That's all I know he did. And then he told about House, the gun case that was already thrown out at the state level, and then the feds picked it back up. So everybody look up Big House. You look up Big House. He was a security for Jay-Z. He was a security for Big Meech. He was also security for Young Jeezy. Yeah, Jeezy put the people on his ass, and he'll let you know. You look him up, he talking his story, and you know, you got all these people with these accounts of these people that's out here. Sorry, y'all, I just be the bearer of bad news because 10 years go by and people act like they ain't never heard nothing, don't know nothing. Like, hold on, the selective politics shit gotta stop.
Cause we came from like him coming to the house and chilling, borrowing the whips and borrowing cars and getting work from the homie, and you know what I'm saying, from that to him like he'll be spots and we want to pull up and he curve us, you feel me? You know, Def Jam, at that point, Def Jam was scarred. They didn't want no more people that coming through their offices that can potentially, they get, you know what I'm saying, caught up with the feds with. So they was pressuring Jeezy. I didn't know at the time. I'm on my, man, we done gave this dude money and I produced the records and he ain't clearing them, f*** him. But like I say, he got away from us as far as like, you know, at that point when he started rolling, his career started going like this, he was told to not affiliate with us like that. You know what I'm saying? He was told that.
I pushed the record out. It was on Koch. It was getting promoted and all the shit. It was getting promoted correctly. All the numbers was right. I was like 300 and some spins a week on my BDS at the time. And I got a call from my team. It was like, bro, they talking about, it was like a Tuesday. I think it was a Tuesday if I am mistaken. I was on the road on my tour bus. And I got a call from my team and they said that on Thursday in 2 days, they're going to pull the record from radio if they don't get Jeezy and CTE's signature. They wasn't signed off for the record. So I'm like, what? I'm like, all right, hold on, bro. Let me call this and blah, blah, blah. So I called it. And this wasn't the first time I called him about that. It was already mentioned before they dropped the shit. So they dropped it and we still didn't have the signatures. And I think it was dropped on good faith that we was going to get the signatures from Alan Grunblatt at Koch. They got the shit. They worked it out with Clear Channel or whatever. So you know what I'm saying? So the record could stay up there and they was telling them they gonna have the paperwork or however it went. But them motherfuckers, I called Jeezy, he swear up and down to God in heaven, he signed off and all this shit. But I had my signature, then my signature for BMF Entertainment as the owner. Then we had Alan Nim's signature from Koch. Then we had John Jackson, which is a fabulous name as an individual, fabulous, the artist. Then we had Skane and Clue for Desert Storm was signed off. I had those signatures. I saw them with my eyes. Then I think I had, at this time, was Jay Brown's signature from Def Jam. He was the vice president of Def Jam at that time. I believe his signature was on my record for Def Jam. They had talks on like, bro, where you at? I'm just gonna pull up. I left my tour route and drove the bus all the way to Miami to go have a conversation with Jeezy about the record being signed off. And that's when that shootout happened that I was just talking about previously. I went to talk to him about that record. That's what the conversation was about. I was coming to meet him and confront him about the shit with all of this shit with me. And as soon as we start talking, Tula was walking down the street with dreads and they're like, oh shit, there go Jeezy, dog. And they're like, oh, and Blue, that's Jeezy and Blue, nigga, that's BMF right there, nigga. Oh, bro, let us get a picture. And then my little cousin Twin, Big Twin, he like, oh, nigga, they ain't taking no picture. You see they trying to talk. So the little like, and then Twin fired him, boom. And that's what started that shit that ended up to the shootout. And me and him never talked about the record right there because that fight turned into a shootout, turned into we all ran, turned into Jeezy got locked up for the gun. And then later on, Jeezy went back to have a polygraph test about that situation. That was all about that day. I went to meet him to talk about why he didn't sign off on my record with me, him, and Jeezy, and they pulled it from the radio. And I believe he couldn't because the feds had jacked him and told him, nigga, if you help these niggas, and the same reason why he couldn't do the deal with us. Same reason why he couldn't put his name on the contract, because the contract ensues help to BMF, and they struck his ass down and told him they were gonna put your ass in prison.
I just grew it from there to like taking over all these surrounding counties. So anybody that know me, like we going down now, anybody that know me from that era can tell you, like I ran, 10, 15, 20 counties around me as a kid, you know what I'm saying? Like a real operation. My aunties and uncles and cousins, and everybody know this. Like, it was like a family business. Like, I ran all these counties, and I grew from that to, damn near taking over Georgia, and I grew from that to South Carolina, Alabama, Tennessee. So I was really running a Fortune 500 company at, 19, 20, 21.
And a lot of these things, Blue Da Vinci has got on interviews and said that Young Jeezy gave up all of Big Meech's cars when he came for an interrogation. Then they came with the cars, and all of us knew that. But we've never heard Big Meech come out and say anything against Young Jeezy. It's always been the underlings that have something to say about Young Jeezy, if he was telling. So it's not surprising that Blue Da Vinci would say a lot of those things that aren't corroborated and you have no facts. Because anytime you get more than 30 people together, clicked up doing anything, there's always going to be factions that think different. It's always going to be jealousy. That's why I never hung around a lot of people, because I learned that early on. The people that you hang around every day are call your best friends. They'll go behind your back and try to hit your old lady and tell your old lady what you're doing. And that comes from experience, knowing that a crowd is not good for nobody. You have to always watch your circle, because the back door usually comes from inside your circle. So it doesn't surprise me that Blue Da Vinci would come out and say a lot of those things about Young Jeezy before this clout chasing FBI agent just showed up on the scene. That's just normal. Anytime you have 30 or more people hanging out every day doing things together, the jealousy exists. The backbiting exists. The back door exists. So before we jump out and start calling the man a snitch, you don't have the man on any kind of interrogation video. You have no paperwork showing that. Big Meech never said that. That could be a feeling that Big Meech have. But the underlings are the ones that's voicing that they think Young Jeezy did so and so and so. We in a dangerous predicament. Where we just going off face value of a so-called former FBI agent that doesn't even give you his name, implying that Young Jeezy was caught up in an ironclad RICO murder case when he sent a hit on Gucci Mane. Yeah, they got to throw Gucci Mane name over in it to sensationalize it even more. So, but at the same time, like I said, if that hit 1,000 ears in how the internet works, you already got 800 people that's already calling Young Jeezy a snitch. So and looking for a reaction. So I say, the best medicine for this situation and the best prescription for this situation is for Young Jeezy to keep doing what he's doing. Don't give it a response. And on the other hand, with all of this just now coming up, my gut feeling is telling me that the wife has something to do with this. The wife. She's bitter. She's bitter. She works in communications. The wife has a hand in this all of a sudden. Notice the timing of all of this. That wouldn't surprise me at all. But as I said, the best medicine that can be prescribed for this situation is for Young Jeezy to just keep doing what he's doing and keep his mouth closed. Keep doing what you're doing, Young Jeezy. Keep your mouth closed. Do not feed into this situation and how he goes about moving around. I don't think he's going to dignify none of this 25-year later propaganda with a response. And that's the best response. But as always, remember to put God first. You stay engaged and stay informed. Peace.